Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jack. Today, I am getting mentored by one of the best, Echo Gaming, in Diablo Immortal, trying to take my account as a fresh ARPG player, a fresh Diablo Immortal player, and see how far I can push as a free-to-play gamer in Diablo Immortal. Huge thank you to them for sponsoring today's video, and big welcome in to Echo Gaming. Thank you so much for taking the time to walk me through how to be able to be a Diablo Immortal pro just like yourself.
Oh man, I appreciate the opportunity. I actually love new players coming to the game. It's great for the health of the game, and I actually think Diablo Immortal is an incredible gameplay experience. So being able to take you from day one through the progression that you've been on is rewarding, that I could teach you so much, and it's actually quite rewarding to see your progress. So I know that there's gonna be some questions that you have along the way, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, and you're really well known for having these new player guides for those getting into Diablo Immortal, but from my experience, I didn't look at any of them, and now I have you in a call just to sit down and ask you all of these sort of questions, which your videos probably cover. So thank you for that. In World of Warcraft, we have Ahead of the Curve, which is more accessible for players who are playing a little bit more casually. They can kill the final boss on this heroic difficulty. They get to see 90% of the mechanics, 80% of the mechanics that Mythic might bring to them, and they get to experience this difficult challenge without having to put in a whole lot of hours. But then there's Cutting Edge, which you seem more like the equivalent of in Diablo Immortal, which will take a lot of time, a lot of effort. What I'm kind of curious about are what are some of the goals that I can go for as a free-to-play player that'll be more of this ahead of the curve type difficulty?
Yeah, great question. And basically you're comparing WoW to Diablo Immortal, which are different genres of games and have different end game goals, I guess. Essentially, in an action RPG like Diablo, specifically Diablo Immortal, you're always going to be grinding gear. Now, we spoke about this on my channel in depth, but you have your gear, you have your secondary gear, you have your legendary gems, you have your normal gems, and you have your combat rating. These are all things that are forever going to be grinded on your account. It's part of the love of an action RPG. The grind never ends. But what type of things are you going to be able to do inside of the game with that power that you get that's outside of PvP? Because you mentioned to me that you're not a big PvP guy, you're more into the PvE experience. So I think to narrow it down to really one end game goal that you're going to continuously try to progress against is going to be the Heliquary. And the Heliquary is essentially boss fights that more of them are continuously coming as time goes on. You go in with a team of 8 different players to try and take down these massive bosses. Now, as we can see from this menu here, you start out on normal, and on normal, you're gonna meet with someone named LaSalle. Now, I remember going in and fighting LaSalle when I started playing the game. It has a requirement of 420 combat rating, which you're probably approaching now that you've gotten through the campaign of the game. It feels really great to go in with a bunch of your friends, clanmates, warband mates, whoever it is you want to play with, even randoms, and to take down this boss. You get a bunch of rewards, some cosmetic rewards, some rewards that help build up your power along the way as well. And then, well, you'll open up the next difficulty level, which would be Hell 1. And in Hell 1, you have another variety of enemies that you could take down with a much higher combat rating requirement. So you're always trying to get that combat rating up so you can keep going through and fighting the bigger and badder Heliquary bosses, all until you get to what currently inside of the game is the most difficult, which is getting more difficult soon, to Inferno 9, where there are a bunch of different bosses, and then once you beat all of them, you do the Heliquary Gauntlet, where you take on multiple of them at not the same time, but in succession, until you take down all 5 of the bosses, get the massive rewards and all the cosmetics to show that you got it done. So that's what you're working towards, essentially. It's gonna take a while.
Absolutely. Okay, so as somebody who just stepped foot into endgame, how am I gonna get from where I'm at to that sort of level? What are the first steps?
Okay, well, of course, you can get carried through anything and you could just be dead on the ground as your team carries you. But let's say you want to actually play an active role. You're playing as a Crusader. So even on some of the, let's say LaSalle, you are under combat rating, meaning you're going to do less damage and take more damage from the boss. You still are able to do shielding and increase crit rate of your teammates. So really, you got to find a couple of people inside of the game to play with. You got to find a couple of friends, people that are maybe inside of your clan that would want to take down this boss and even help you or just guide you along to be your teammates throughout the battle. And then once you get that done, which is based off of your combat rating growth, you can then move on to the next one.
So how does it usually work with finding a warband to play with versus using like the group finder? Does it feel like the solo queue experience is accessible for people, or do you always want to be finding a group of players consistently to play with?
I always like to find my consistent players. For me, I have a warband, and essentially a warband is a group of friends. These are people, they're going to be your closest homies inside of the game. They're going to be your raid mates. I don't know what they even call it in WoW, but the guys that you're always doing your big raids with. I think I got that right.
Yep, the guilds.
Your guilds. There you go. See, you can tell I don't play WoW. This is just like that. You're going to be going in with your best buds, and you guys are going to grow together. You're going to all have the same goal in mind. Or you could be a completely casual group where you just like to jump on sometimes and try and take down big bosses. Warbands, though, are the exclusive group of players that are just gonna be there and, you know, your besties inside of the game. It's limited. It used to be 8 players that could be in a warband, and it's extended now. I want to say 16, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But you could also run these types of events with clanmates, with random friends that aren't even in your clan, or just randoms if you put up a queue finder so that someone would join you. That said, it may be difficult to find someone that's looking to take down LaSalle because he's the first one ever. Depends on how many brand new players are there on your server looking for that battle.
Yeah, that makes sense. And obviously I don't want to be in a position where I'm getting carried the entire way. So how am I going to get myself started with the gearing process so I'm going to be strong enough to be able to carry my own weight?
Great question. First thing is, you mentioned that you don't think you have all legendary gear yet. You're going to want to unlock legendary gear for each of your gear slots. That could be a goal for you over the next couple of weeks. Once you get those, the legendary gear just has so much better stats and attributes and combat rating jumps than other gear. Rare, normal, legendary blows it all out of the water. Just from putting all legendary gear on, even if it's all at rank 1, you're still going to have more power and be able to take on some of those big bosses. We've spoken before, and I'll repeat it here again, that it's important to level up your gear as well. Leveling up your gear just brings you more power and combat rating with it as well, and unlocks new attributes, so you want to continuously upgrade all of your gear. And you notice that we have some nice blingy gems inside of all these.
Yeah.
You'll be unlocking gems as you go. Maybe we'll talk about that later, but you're going to want to socket gems that give you benefits and different magical attributes that you're looking for inside of that main gear as well.
Okay, and so gear is of course increasing my strength, but there's also more leveling I have once I've hit level 60 as well. Isn't that right?
Yes. So when you hit level 60, you've essentially beaten the tutorial of the game. That's how people look at it. It's the very beginning, and then you start gaining Paragon points. Paragon points are these purple numbers you see after my level 60. That shows you how many levels you've gone beyond basically beating the tutorial or the campaign, which is not meant to be insulting because the campaign is amazing. It's just that's when the game opens up and everything is available for you, or at least most things are available for you. And as you progress closer to server Paragon, as you can see, all servers at the point of us recording this video, the server Paragon level is 1130. If you are below that, you're getting enhanced rewards of experience. If you notice me right here, I'm 4 levels above my server Paragon. I'm actually getting decreased experience from anything I do. So if you're brand new with a low Paragon level, you're probably getting 1,600 times the rewards of someone that's at the level. This is actually a cool catch-up mechanic so that like you can eventually get there.
Okay, so that's good. So I don't have to worry too much about how long you been playing this game?
I've been playing since, since before launch, but this account is since day 1, so about 3.5 years.
Wow. So I don't have to worry about playing for the next 3.5 years or something like that to start getting up into some higher levels. Perfect.
No, you'll get there a little bit quicker than I did.
All right, so you talked to me about Heliquaries kind of being these raid boss fights that we have in Diablo Immortal. We have something in WoW called Mythic Plus, which is this infinitely scaling dungeon content with 5 players. You can continuously be scaling up some of the difficulty. What is sort of the equivalent of that in Diablo Immortal?
The Heliquary bosses are the best example of that. If you're asking what other things are going to be able to be unlocked for you or become easier for you along the way, well, first of all, you're not going to be able to do all dungeons on day 1. You're going to be able to unlock new dungeons and take down those dungeon bosses, which again, you're farming for gear, but those will become attainable as time goes on and as you gain more power. Also, the stronger you get and the higher your combat rating gets, the more you can progress through your challenge rifts, which is a leaderboard system and also a system that allows you to, you guessed it, upgrade more of your gear, your secondary gear with these cryptic crystals. So right here, if we take a look at level 1, level 1's going to give you, everyone can do it. No combat rating requirement. Level 2 is up to 40. You're sitting probably around level 10 with your combat rating, maybe a little bit less, maybe at number 9 right now. And as you get more combat rating, you get to go further and further in these challenge rifts with that more combat rating, getting yourself higher and higher on leaderboards based off of the time that it takes for you to complete it, and bigger rewards for getting higher and higher on those leaderboards. So this is another way that many players, specifically leaderboard players, really see how their progress is as far as their character goes overall. And it looks like I'm not.
You're in the top 100.
I'm not the top 10. So I'm just seeing this now, and I'm like, I wish I was a little higher as I feature this in your video.
That's right. I will forgive you for that. Okay, perfect. So, in order to get to, let's set out some of the goals I have. All legendary gear. Let's get at least LaSalle down, and let's get challenge rift 15s. Let's say. In order to get to that point, you talked about doing dungeons for just better gear, but there looked like there were 2 different pockets of gear with both the legendaries we had and then some of the ones that were green. Can you tell me about how I can just better fill out my character with both?
Yeah, that's a great question that you have. Legendary gear basically drops anywhere inside of the game. There are areas where you can get more of them, and there's areas where you would maybe have a less chance of getting drops, but they can essentially drop from any activities that you're doing, for the most part. Green gear is mostly dropped inside of dungeons. Now, green gear can drop in other areas too, or I shouldn't say drop, you can get it in other ways as well, but primarily it's going to be through dungeons. So if you're trying to get these greens, and if you're trying to unlock the set bonuses from these greens, from utilizing 2 of the same set, 4 of the same set, or 6 of the same set, which is very important, you're going to want to farm a lot of dungeons. And I think that's a great place to do all the farming, because not only can you get green gear, you could also get legendary gear. And if you're in a party of 4, you can also get drops of normal gems as well, which are the gems that get socketed inside of the green gear. So for minute, dungeons are probably the best place to grind as a newer player trying to outfit your entire account with all the good things.
And you mentioned there were some set bonuses. How do I know which ones are going to be like more beneficial for something like a Crusader?
Well, you're going to watch tutorials and guides from my channel, of course. No, I'm just kidding.
There we go. Make sure you're subbing to Echo Gaming. I believe it's specifically Echo Gaming Diablo.
It's Echo Gaming Diablo. I'm sorry. You just teed me up so perfectly for that. Let me show you what I'm using on my Crusader. And of course, there's tons of different builds. If you're on an offensive build, a defensive build, what I'm using here is Feasting Barons. I'm using a 2-piece set of this. It increases the duration of my harmful effects. We do a bunch of harmful effects as a Crusader. That's going to increase that. We also have Enigmit's Conflagration. This is going to basically make me ignite enemies, putting them on fire, both from my skills and then from my primary attacks. And then one of the most commonly used in all of the game, no matter the class, is Vithu. It increases the duration of all your beneficial effects on you and party members, which basically means you can shield people longer, you can give them crit increased damage longer, and your skills will last longer. So this is a really important one for many people to use.
Okay, so I know with that in mind, that one's going to be super insanely important, but does it drop from like a certain boss or something I should focus on? Because in WoW, I know my set bonuses, and I know I have to kill this boss fight to get this sort of item. But am I just going to be at the mercy of RNG in Diablo Immortal?
That question has a lot of different answers. Okay, let's break it down from the start. Different dungeon bosses will drop different green gear. But with the new version of the game, you can just run random dungeons, which honestly is what almost everyone does now. Quick matchmaking into random dungeons, and because of the event going on called Blessed Hunter, you could actually choose the pieces of gear that you want to have bigger chances of dropping. So it actually works really nicely. You could either go with a full set that you want to drop or actually individual pieces of gear for each of those slots. So this is something new to the game. It's really convenient and helpful for when you're trying to get particular pieces of gear. And for you, maybe not caring about the specific stats on each green, but more trying to put the set connections together, Blessed Hunter is going to be something really big. And if we take a look at the events right now, I just want to go over there. Blessed Hunter, it's going on until the 17th of December. Sometimes they inch these out longer, and honestly, this is a great feature that allows people to catch up, and it even allows people like me who have been playing since day one to get better greens. I'd like to see this come to the game forever. Let's go Diablo Immortal. Let's make it happen. Let's see if we can actually get this all the time.
I love that, because what else am I going to do if something just won't drop for me and I really want to put together a specific bonus?
So you keep getting green items and they're not the ones that you need. You can come on over to your blacksmith and you could salvage any of your gear. You could salvage your green items, and in salvaging a green item, it's going to give you a resource that is called a Fabled Wisp. Fabled Wisps start out looking something like this, and as you progress through the game, they get bigger and bigger until you're into something like this currently at Inferno 9. You need 5 of these Fabled Wisps to craft 1 piece of green gear. So what that means is for every 5 that you salvage, you can craft 1. And let me take you over to item crafting, which is also at the blacksmith. You come over to item crafting, go to set crafting. You could choose any set item you want, and you are guaranteed to get that set item. Now, you're not guaranteed to get the stats on the item, but you can put these sets together fairly easily just by crafting the ones that you're actually hunting for.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, in WoW, most of the set bonuses are usually a bigger deal than getting perfect stats. And usually we'll try to just get the set bonus together first and then worry about having perfect secondaries after that. Is it the same in Diablo?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. You really want to get those bonuses going, think about it this way. Every time a new difficulty comes into the game, we are refarming these green items to match that difficulty. Same thing with your legendary gear. And sometimes we'll find ourselves just trying to get the set bonus that's a little bit better, but maybe the gem slots aren't exactly what you want. Maybe it's not hitting and targeting all of the attributes you're looking for, but you'll put it in place so that you can actually get the property working, and then you'll continuously roll them until you get that perfect piece that we're always hunting for.
Yeah, so it seems like I'm not going to be alone in trying to continuously be improving my gear as I'm catching up, because I'm catching up with the additional experience for my Paragon levels, and as I'm getting into higher Inferno levels, other people also need to re-gear when new Infernos come out. So how often do new Infernal difficulties come out?
Well, we're about to get some very, very soon. As you can see, an update's happening at the point of recording this video in less than 24 hours, which I believe is going to be bringing new Inferno difficulties. Inferno difficulties typically come in 3 different levels. So if we take a look over here, we're at Inferno 9. So we're gonna get Inferno 10, 11, and 12. And typically a rough number is it takes about 2 months to get through each. So we're looking at every 6 months, 3 more will be unlocked that each take approximately 2 months to get through. Approximately.
So what do you mean by getting through these levels? Do I have to kill a certain boss to get through it, or a specific achievement?
Yeah, that does sound confusing how I just said that now, doesn't it? Since you bring that up. No, they're actually the same levels, the same bosses, the same battles. It's just that the scale of the enemies that you're encountering are more difficult, and your combat rating needs to be high enough to be able to handle that difficulty. So no new bosses or anything, although some new levels do offer new dungeons if you haven't unlocked them yet, but that's something different.
Okay, and so you said it's going to go 10, 11, 12 coming up really soon. So when Inferno 10 comes out, how do you complete all the challenges to then move on to Inferno 11? Are these challenge rifts, dungeons, Heliquary?
It's going to be all about improving your build and increasing the combat rating. You can do that through all of the things that you just mentioned, because all of those give you rewards that do increase your combat rating, but it's completely combat rating gated. And a lot of times you'll see people get to those Infernal difficulties early, the higher stages, because maybe they're grinding so far ahead, or at least as far ahead as the game will let them. But that's something we're actually all preparing for right now. You know, the next Inferno difficulty, if we take a look at my character, is going to be 1,200. And this is happening very, very soon. So we're going to have a lot of catching up to do to get there. And the cool thing about this is Diablo Immortal will often put in 2 times events and things like that, giving you double the experience, which for someone like me is big. You're already getting 1,600 times the experience.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what is that? Is that going to be 3,200 times the experience during a 2 times event for you? My God, you're going to be here before you know it.
That's right. I was going to say, I got to get caught up to you.
You're getting there, man, quickly.
All right, perfect. So now that I know what I want to do to farm up some of the gear, to take on some of the bosses, what are some of like the common pitfalls that some of the new players might get wrapped up in? Are there certain things that I just need to avoid? Or, we've talked about some of like the weeklies that we have access to. Do I just complete those, move on to some of the next ones to make sure I'm as efficient as I possibly can be?
To give you a quick list of things that are important to do, I always recommend that every day players go through and do at least 3 dungeons, because you get rewarded for doing your 3 daily dungeons, and that you do your 8 bounties per day. Those are going to be some of the best rewards you can get for your initial 20 minutes of gameplay inside of the day. If you're someone that wants to spend a little bit more time, then I always recommend check out what events are inside of the game, because these are typically going to reward you fairly heavily. Like right now, we have a Clash of Saviors. This event isn't anything that exciting, but if you take down these very easy tasks, think about these things you have to do, you can get some rewards that'll help progress your account, like Telluric Pearls, which can be used to craft the legendary gems that you actually want, or Legendary Crests, which are used to run in Elder Rifts to have that RNG, hoping that you get that legendary gem that drops. It's always cool to see what events are going on inside of the game so that you can try and take advantage of it and get rewards. Right now, Trial of the Horde is going on. It's giving you your weekly tasks, and you could get these rewards done or I should say you could get these tasks done to earn these rewards, which are, maybe they don't look like the best things right now, but like this chest right here is going to give you a really solid piece of legendary gear. This scrap is going to give you the materials to upgrade that gear. These gems you're going to be going for to fill out your green items. And you could even get some mystery green set items here as well. There's tons of things that you can earn from these quests that are pretty easy to do if you just do the right activities, which are all under events for the most part.
Yeah, and I noticed the Clash of Saviors one has some of the references to WoW with the Lich King going on too. Aren't there some of the cosmetics coming around? I think you said that there already were some previously for Demon Hunters with Illidan.
You have a good eye, because you noticed something inside of the game that's kind of a tease, because we're hearing rumor that there may be another WoW type of event coming to the game sometime soon. Maybe. But what you're looking at here is a cosmetic that I have unlocked from the previous World of Warcraft crossover, which I think is awesome. Diablo Immortal does a great job with their cosmetics. This thing looks actually incredible. And notice that cape I'm wearing right there? You're probably wondering what that is. It's because my clan and my alliance group of members are the immortals on the server. Something I'm very proud of.
Oh.
I probably contributed a lot less than many of the others in the clan to that, but very cool. But we also got some cosmetics for our pets as well, which was really nice. Let me show you one of these that I think you're gonna like. So we got little Ragnaros right here. We got the Core Ranger. The Butcher's a Diablo thing you probably don't know, but look at these guys, the Murlocs. I mean, I know you know some of these guys, right?
Absolutely. These are the original mobs that kill everybody at the start of World of Warcraft. These are like the cause of most people's first death in the game.
I love it. And Diablo Immortal does a nice job pulling in different IPs. They've done it with many different IPs out there, but it's really easy for Blizzard to bring in other Blizzard IPs and do these types of collaboration events where there's big bosses to fight and all these different things to do from other IPs that someone like yourself may really enjoy because you're a WoW guy.
Absolutely. I heard there was going to be some of the cosmetics for Lich King and for Sylvanas coming up, so I'm going to keep an eye out for those as well. All right. I know about all of the endgame that I have seen thus far. We know what we have for our like early checklist going forward into it. Are there any other pitfalls or things that people sort of get distracted with or focus a little bit too much on that might kind of gum up some of their progression in the early game?
Yeah, I mean, something that a lot of people forget is that they need to upgrade their gear. I know we talked about it, but people will grind and just sit in these 20-minute battles versus a boss in the open world and just not be able to win. And really, they just need to come and upgrade some of their gear. All things that you find in the game are valuable. Even if it's not gear that you're going to use, you'll destroy it and it'll give you the materials you need to upgrade the gear that you're actually going to use. Also, don't get sucked into needing to have the best 5-star gems inside of the game. 5-star gems are great. Some of them aren't that great, but you could even do some great things with 1-star gems. As you can see, me, end game player, I have a 1-star gem in my build, and it's doing more damage and enhancing my build more than the 5-star gem that I had in that socket. you can build a really great class out with very free-to-play friendly 1 and 2-star gems that allow your build to be really unique, creative, and just enhance what the skills are that the class has to be, that the class focuses on. So don't worry so much about having to be such a high resonance player and having to have all the best gems. Just work on the ones that are going to benefit the build you're working on, and you'll be in a good position.
Yeah, I noticed there was a community build section where you could start looking at what other people have been running with as well. But do you also have some other resources for better gems, things that you need to focus on for some of the builds, so I know which legendary gems are worth pursuing?
Of course, I mean, myself as a creator for the game, as well as there's a bunch of other creators as well out there, put out a ton of great guides that are class specific or tier lists for the gems that are the best to use. It's basic guidance, right? You seem like the kind of guy, though, that likes to experiment and really, you're going to want some guidance on what gems are good, and then you're going to want to make your own build that's unique to you, which I love about this game. But there is a build feature inside of the game where you're able to look at some of the suggested builds from Blizzard, and then a community build guide where you can take builds from some of the best players inside of the game, and you could use those as well. Now, they probably have gems you don't have, they probably have some gear that you don't have yet, but it can give you some good ideas on how to build out your class. It's a nice feature, and this community build is actually fairly new to the game, and I should probably mess around with a little bit more myself.
And so you're able to mark those builds once you kind of see them, and then you can start grinding to work on unlocking all the different pieces of it?
Yep, exactly. And you get rewarded as you do collect all the pieces for these builds as well, at least the ones that Blizzard is sharing with you. It's part of the regular grind. On a regular basis, new legendary items are coming out that have new legendary effects. Actually, they call them essences. And I don't even have all of the essences unlocked right now for the Crusader. Basically, when we started this journey together, I had switched back to the Crusader after having not played for close to a year. And as you can see right here, I don't have everything. I have a lot, but there's a few of the essences that I don't yet have unlocked. And, you know, it's RNG trying to get these things to drop. There's no way to craft them. You can, though, use a loyalty bonus feature. You could spend either your loyalty bonus points or your legacy points, and you could actually buy an essence if it's detrimental to that one build you're trying to get to, which is a nice feature because at least now you could take some time to get there. It's possible rather than just waiting forever because, like I said, there's a lot of different essences that you can utilize inside of the game, and not everyone has all of them.
Okay, and so these are going to be key for setting up different builds, like you mentioned. What happens if I want to try a variety of different builds? Do I have to just completely redo everything constantly all of the time just to play those?
You're going to be spending some time putting your builds together. Lucky for us, there is an armory. So when you do put a build together that you like, you can kind of make those loadouts. It puts your skills, your Paragon, it gets your familiar details, your bonds.
Oh, wow.
More than we've gotten into because this is more of a beginner video, but your gear, your charm, everything that is relating to your build is saved here. So you could save a bunch of these up. I have some for PvP, I have some for support, and you could experiment. And if you make some big mistakes, you could just come back and load up one that you like that worked, and you could be okay from there.
Perfect. So I have to really worry too much about, hey, I want to experiment with something, but I don't want to have to go all the way back and redo every little ounce of my gear. All right, perfect.
Yeah, you could legit just copy someone's build that's being successful inside of the game and save it and just use theirs, or you could experiment for it yourself and make it your own. It's completely how you want to play the game.
All right, so it looks like in order to hit my goals of getting Challenger at 15, getting the Sol down, getting all legendary gear, I gotta be watching for the bounty board, completing that, and I have a little bit of time, don't I, just to make sure in case I don't log in one day that I can kind of store them up?
Yep, up to 3 days in a row they'll stack for you, so that's a nice quality of life.
Okay, sweet. So while I'm doing those, I'm going to be making sure I'm doing my daily dungeons, keeping an eye on any of the event tasks that they have for me to further optimize my gear. And am I missing anything else along this journey?
You can go through any hidden layers that you may find or side quests that you find in the open world. We didn't really focus on that too much, but they do offer some nice rewards if you happen to stumble upon them. But I have to say, you got a lot of this locked down. You're a great student and making some great progress.
Hey, got a great teacher to help me along the way. So huge thank you, Echo. And if you guys haven't checked out his channel, I'll have it linked as well in the description down below. Check out those new player guides because getting to have that firsthand experience and asking you all these questions has been insanely helpful.
I'm glad I could help, man. It's fun to watch you on the journey. I appreciate you reaching out.
And I appreciate the help, and I appreciate Diablo Immortal for sponsoring today's video. Be sure to check out our link in the description down below if you want to join Echo and I in hell. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all next time.